Do you love your job? Really love it? If you don't, welcome to the Career Clinic. During this program, you're going to be informed, you're going to be inspired, and you're going to have fun while it happens. Listen for the opportunity to call in with questions or check in by email. Now, here's your host for the Career Clinic, Maureen Anderson.
What's next? Follow your passion and find your dream job. Nope, that's not the tagline for the Career Clinic, though it sounds like it could be, doesn't it? What's Next is the title of a book by my guest on the Career Clinic today. Kerry Hannon is a contributing editor to U.S. News and World Report. She's also a blogger at Forbes.com. And, Kerry, we welcome you to the show.
Well, hi, Maureen. Great to be here today.
It's great to have you with us. With me, as always, is my husband and producer, Daryl Anderson. And Kerry and Daryl and I would like to invite your participation in the show today. That toll-free number is 888-598-8464. Once again, toll-free, 888-598-8464. You can follow us on Twitter. I see Kerry has been tweeting about the show. And you can join me by email. That address is Maureen@thecareerclinic.com. I'm at the Career Clinic on Twitter. Kerry is Kerry Hannon, KerryHannon. Do you tweet during an interview, Kerry? How does that work?
No, I wouldn't dare do that. No. I'm paying attention.
No, I don't mean to suggest
it's okay to admit.
Yeah. It does make me wonder, though, because I've seen other people being interviewed, and you see them glancing down. I always wonder what they're doing. But anyway, those Blackberries. All right, Kerry, you are a financial advisor too, right? Is that your day job? Would you call it, or?
Well, no, actually, my sort of core is that I've always been a financial journalist, and over time I've kind of honed my skills into becoming an expert in this area of retirement and career reinvention, as you might say, or career transition. And so it's been kind of a gradual movement into that from my base career as a journalist. That's
interesting, because if you cover something long enough, people think you're an expert on it. And you probably know as much about financial subjects as the people you are interviewing.
Well, it's good to know a lot, and it's fun to learn from the other people as well. So I'm constantly learning, but I tell you, it's been incredibly rewarding. And this particular topic, and I know it's at your heart as well, is that you meet so many fascinating people who have really made changes in their lives and are doing something that they love. But it all comes down to money at the end of the day.
It does, and I was fascinated to catch a review of Sarah Von Bronick's new book on your website. I can't think of the title. What's the title of it?
Peace and Plenty.
Yes, she has quite the story. A lot of people might remember Sarah from Simple Abundance. She was the woman, one of the first authors that Oprah made really famous. And she has quite the tale of financial comeback.
Yeah, and the thing is, she has written a lovely book that is, she admits, she really screwed up with her money, and she's had to learn the lessons pretty difficult, that have been pretty difficult. So she put together this book to kind of help. It's aimed at women, but I'm telling you, anyone can benefit from it. And sort of as she learns, she provides those lessons. And so I found it really refreshing.
How did you become a financial journalist?
Well, I started off writing for Forbes magazine when I was younger, covering companies, big companies, little companies, and my gosh, Maureen, they'd send me all over the world to do these stories, and I was in my 20s. It was really exciting. And then I segued into, I realized I was never going to run $1 billion business, and I started writing for Money magazine. And that really taught me that, hey, this is something I can relate to. I've been in credit card debt. Let me take a look at this, and it really resonated with me. And so I moved on from Money to Kiplinger's, and then at U.S. News and World Report and at USA Today, I really just kept digging deeper, and it just, all of the lessons about personal finance I could relate to, either my own story or people I knew, and it was just, I just found it really amazing to be able to help people out and show them where to go to get help with their money.
I always find it fascinating when a doctor who smokes and is overweight is on TV or in print telling people don't smoke, don't be overweight.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I think it would be tough to do something like you do and not have a pretty nice portfolio. I mean, I don't want to venture into anything. It's none of my business, but you have a front row seat to exactly how you should manage money.
Well, today I'm in a pretty good position because I do pay attention. But I tell you, when I was in my 20s, I made all the classic mistakes. You know, I cashed out my 401k when I switched jobs. I ran up credit card debt. All those things that we do in our 20s, thinking that it doesn't matter, that we're going to, the future is far, far away when you need that money. So I corrected my mistakes and know what it's like to have creditors call you up. So when I wrote those stories as I got older, I'm like, oh my gosh, I know what it feels like. So let me tell you, you can get out of this. And I think, when we talk about careers, it's the same thing. You might be, think it's so daunting and unmanageable to try to change your career or what you're doing with your work life. And like obviously getting out of debt is a huge piece of making a smooth career transition, in my opinion. I mean, financial fitness rules. But I think that it too, like getting out of debt or managing your money, it's all paying attention to the details and taking it a step at a time.
Well, and managing your money is akin to managing your career in that I think a lot of us go through high school, go through college, and nobody ever really sits us down and tells us how it's done. It's just this assumption that you'll know that there's something to be ashamed of if you need to get advice. I'll never forget early in my career, someone I worked with had a pretty good idea of what I was making, and he sat me down in a conference room one day and he told me all these things that I thought, this is none of his business. I'm not going to encourage it, but I've never forgotten what he said, and I was secretly glad that he did that because nobody had done it.
Yeah. I'm hoping that today the picture's getting better because there's such a movement afoot to start to teach personal finance in the high schools and even younger. But it's been slow to come. You learn geometry. Why shouldn't you learn how to manage debt?
And so much of how much flexibility you'll have in your career and the decisions that you'll make has to do with how well you're managing the money you are making.
Yeah, I think that's such a good point, Maureen. I think that people lose sight of the importance of your personal money management because if you're in charge and if you're comfortable with where you are, it gives you so much more flexibility to make decisions. It's liberating. It really frees you up. I like to say that debt is a real dream killer because it is. You're imprisoned by it in a way, and it limits your choices.
Advice I heard, I think I was still in high school, was that you should always have I quit money so that you're never at the mercy of any one employer.
I love that. I totally think that's great advice, and we all should, as they say, have that they call it the rainy day fund or what have you, but at least 6 months of living expenses, if possible, stashed away so that and invested in a way that you can. It's liquid in the sense that if you are at the end of your rope, you can say, okay, I can make a change, and I have the resources to do that. I'm not stuck. I mean, there's nothing worse than feeling like you're stuck and you don't have choices.
Is this your first book? What's next?
It's not. It's actually my 6th book.
Oops. I should have done more homework. Sorry.
That's okay. But it's my first book specifically about careers. My other books, the most recent ones where I did a book that was really well received called Suddenly Single, Money Skills for Divorcees and Widows. And I did a book prior to that, a 10-minute guide to retirement for women. So at one point I was really focusing on women and money issues, and I still am very interested in that and follow that area quite a bit. And it certainly segues into this whole area of careers, and women have very different challenges and opportunities in their careers. So I have a real sort of affection for that area. But I've written about getting out of debt, from debt to prosperity, you and your money, and estate planning. And one book that has nothing to do with money but all about inspiration was I did a coffee table book about Navajo weaving. And I spent time out on the reservation with 3 amazing weavers and learned about their life and how they do their craft.
We are talking with Kerry Hannon today. Her latest book is What's Next? Follow Your Passion and Find Your Dream Job. If you've been doing the same thing for however many years and have decided maybe you're in your 50s, it's time to do something else with your life, to really have a second act that makes you feel like you are making the most of your time left on this earth. You have come to the right place. The rest of the program, we're going to be telling you a lot of stories from Kerry's book and giving you some tools to help you decide what's next for you. You are listening to the Career Clinic.